Hey everybody, this is Rustin Rose with Metalholic and Access Entertainment. We are talking with Mixi of Stitched Up Heart today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's been an awesome tour, so we're on our way to San Diego right now, and I just got out of Vegas, stayed in the castle, so I'm doing pretty good.
I was going to say, you got quite a week going on. Bowling in Boise, hanging with Vinnie Paul in Vegas, San Diego tonight. You know, how can you complain?
Oh, yeah.
And
I fangirled a little when I saw Vinnie Paul. He watched our whole set, and I was just like, I saw him when I was on the stage. Like, that's no way that's Vinnie Paul. And then it took some guts to go up and say hi to him. But he was like, yeah, you guys are really good. He bought a CD.
Wow.
Like, you think I'd give it to him, but yeah, I wasn't there to actually do it. He bought it from the merch person. So, but yeah, it was really awesome.
Well, that's pretty damn cool. And you guys, of course, are tearing up the road with your label mates like a storm. I just talked to Matt a couple of days ago, and he had great things to say about you guys.
Yeah, we love those guys. They're super, like, seriously heart to gold, like, amazing people. The whole entire tour package, from Ashes to New, Failure Anthem. I mean, it's just like, it's really all positive vibes.
Awesome. All right, so let's talk Stitched Up Heart. Last month marked the 5-year anniversary of the band's founding. Does it seem like it's been half a decade already, or has this sort of been a whirlwind so far?
Oh, wow. I'm glad you're keeping track, because I wasn't. Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of growth, a lot of trial and error, a lot of learning. And I guess 5 years went by pretty fast, but I can definitely see what happens if you keep working really hard and not giving up, you know, at something, no matter what it is. We've definitely come from, you know, nothing to kind of getting ourselves known out there, you know. So it's a cool adventure.
And you guys certainly perform and sound more confident these days, for sure. You can really see that growth and what this time together has done for you.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just all about just doing it over and over again and then owning your craft and knowing that, like, there's really nothing else I want to do. So I either don't do it or give it 110%, you know?
You're the face of the band, and we get to hear a lot about you, which is fantastic, but we know very little about the rest of the band. Can you give us a quick rundown of your bandmates and maybe a little, like, anecdote or insight into each of them?
Okay. Well, have you ever watched, this is a really good example, actually. Have you ever watched the show Metalholic?
Yes.
Okay. So if you took Dethklok, the band in Metalholic, and replaced every member of Stitched Up Heart with the members of Dethklok, we fit the bill perfectly. Like, every single person. Rhythm guitarist is Toki, Seth Merritt. The bass player is Murderface. I'm Nathan Explosion, the singer, of course. Pickles, the drummer. But, I mean, their personalities are exactly to a T of that show. We watch it, like, religiously. It's ridiculous. But, yeah, I mean, aside from talking about stinky farts and whatnot, but the bass player is looking at me right now after I said that, too. It's not him. Yeah, I mean, they're all kind of asleep in the van right now, but they're all really good, very determined, very motivated, very driven people, and they want this more than anything, just like me. So it's a really good group of guys and gals, you know, pretty happy.
That's what you want to surround yourself with. So you guys have released EPs so far, and your sound continues to grow and evolve, as we said. What can we expect your debut record for Another Century to sort of bring to us? How does it compare from your perspective with what you've already done?
Well, we wrote Skeleton Key, which is our DIY release. We did it ourselves and, you know, low budget, whatnot. It was more of a kind of like creative, avant-garde-y, kind of circusy, kind of like just whatever kind of thing. And it was also in a darker place. When personally I was in a darker place. With this new record, it's coming from a dark place into a more hopeful place, I like to say. So it's more grown up. It's like I did a lot of growing in the last year, and you wouldn't think that 1 year somebody can almost completely change, but gotten a lot more serious and taking everything seriously, and not just, oh, it's all fun and games, no big deal. Like, if I really want to take this seriously, that's where it is in this next record. It's very put together, very thought out. The last record was more so, let's write 30 songs and pick our favorite 6, you know? This one, it's like every song we take and we, like, really think about it. And we're also working with a lot more people that have worked on other stuff that kind of know how to make an idea even better. And so we come up with stuff in the studio, and we bounce off each other, and we kind of have, like, this chemistry in the studio that just works perfectly with this new record. So it's weird because the music actually got heavier, but I stopped screaming as much. So it balanced it out kind of nicely. Because I used to scream a little more, and we'd have more breakdowns, but there was a lot of, like, almost more melodic guitar parts in the previous stuff. Now, so it's more just heavier, thicker kind of stuff. So I really like it a lot better. I think, like, it's grown immensely.
Well, and you gave us a nice segue in there. You worked with Mitchell Marlowe on the record, who has written Within This Moment and has done a lot of film score work. How did his presence impact the record?
He is my homie. I love that dude. We, like, instantly clicked. You know, we wrote with some other people, and they were all really cool, but, like, we just, like, clicked. So he's actually working on a bunch of stuff with us and doing the record. And it's just like, it's almost like having an extra member in the band. I keep begging him. I'm like, we can have 3 guitar players. It's totally fine. But he doesn't like touring, but which is good. Then he'll just stay in the studio and work on our stuff. But no, I love Mitchell. He's done some amazing stuff, and we are super stoked to actually be able to work with him and call him our bestie, you know?
Right, absolutely. Now, despite your previous recordings, you said this is more substantial, more serious what you're doing here. What were the biggest moments that stood out for you while making the record, and what did you take away from that experience?
I think it's a little bit nerve-wracking to actually write in hopes that people like what you write, rather than when I wrote before, I just write whatever, and it's just whatever I think about. So I put a little more weight on my shoulders, I guess, and I'm a little more critical of my own writing ability. So it's definitely a little more stressful having people, like, that are going to judge it. But on the other side of things, every time we send something to them, they like it. And so they've been super impressed, like, all the people that, you know, have our backs in this game. So it's like everybody's been really, really happy with what we've done so far, which, with all those, like, nervousness and whether or not, you know, the songs are going to come out perfect and people are going to like it. They've liked everything almost. So it's like, oh, well, there's one little part in this song we can fix. And it's just everything we send them, they're like, wow, that's surprisingly good. So it's actually been, it's kind of a internal journey in the writing process of this record, because I'm actually caring about what other people think, rather than just, I'm going to write this. If I feel like putting an F-bomb in there, I will. You know?
Well, and you were saying earlier on, you've had such growth personally over this last year. You're putting a lot more into what you're doing in terms of writing from that aspect. So it kind of makes me wonder, the first single, the first video is called Finally Free. Does that lend to that backstory of your change over the last year, or what is the story with that song?
Finally Free is exactly what you're thinking it is. It was like kind of like having an epiphany, my life the way it was, and wanting to do something about it, and changing the way that I perceive everything and the way that I go about things. And yeah, it's just about being here and being alive, and I sometimes still have to remember and remind myself of that. And when I listen to that song, it helps. It really helps you be like you feel like you're on a motorcycle with, like, no helmet laws, and just riding and cruising through, and the wind's blowing in your hair kind of feel, you know, like that was the moment I was having when that song was being written. So I just wanted to, like, kind of deliver that experience. But yeah, I mean, I haven't drank this whole year, which is a huge part of it. I've been well, not hungover on the road is really nice. But, I mean, as far as also just working on myself and being a better person, really.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm recently wrote one of her blog articles about just that. After their most recent tour, she finally came back and said, if I want to keep my voice working and keep doing this for years, I got to take care of it. I can't drink on the road anymore. I can't party the way I used to when I'm out on tour, because this is my livelihood and this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Oh, yeah, and she's right. It takes a toll, and especially, and you can hear my voice right now. We've been out since August, so it's tired, and when you're going to go out and you're going to drink and stuff, it's not even really the singing part that's the hardest. It's going and talking over the music throughout the show and talking to everybody, and then when you drink, you get louder. And then you want to stay up longer and you don't get any sleep and stuff. So, last night we were in Vegas, after the show, everybody's like, oh, let's go out. And I'm like, I'm going to be lame and go to bed and, take care of my voice, because it's our livelihood. And even though it sounds like fun, you feel like you're missing the party, I care more about this career than I do about, a drunken night at the bar.
And, of course, you get tasked with doing all these wonderful interviews, too, which is more strain on your vocal cords when you're getting ready to perform. So, now, musically, is Finally Free indicative of what the rest of the new record will sound like, or is it just maybe one element of what fans can expect?
There's a lot of different, it's Mitchell Marlowe, so he's working on the whole thing, so you'll definitely hear elements of that in there. But, Finally Free is kind of one in itself. It is a good segue into the record, and I think it's perfect for it. It's actually one of my favorites, but it wasn't supposed to be a single. It was just supposed to be something just let everybody hear and see what they thought about it, and it ended up being a single because all these stations are picking it up, Octane and a bunch of radio stations. So it ended up going way further than we thought. We were just going to put it out there and give people something to listen to. So, but there's a couple other ones that are even better, that are supposed to be the singles. So let's just say that there's better songs on the record, and I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised.
Fantastic. You are very connected to the modern generation, but from all I've read and seen, you also seem like something of an old soul. Do you feel that way at all?
I have this weird sense, and I think, I don't know if you're a spiritual person, but maybe I'm crazy. I feel like I'm connected to my grandma's sister. She was an old jazz singer back in Chicago, and she passed away a long time ago before she ever did anything with it. My family wasn't really ever, inspirational as far as, my musical tastes and where that went, but for some reason, all of, big band stuff and Louis Armstrong, Frank Sinatra, Ella Fitzgerald, stuff like that. Just really, I feel connected to that kind of music
in
a weird way. Yeah. I don't know why. It's just it's almost like I was reincarnated as, something, I don't know. I do feel a connection with something deeper because it wasn't something that was, played a ton or anything when I was a kid. I just feel like I already know all these songs.
Right.
And then I just kind of mixed it in with the modern day stuff, screaming, which just came later on accidentally, and stuff like that. But yeah, and put my own things together, kind of.
Nice. All right. So last question. My generation was very much about the arm's length mystique of the rock star. Your generation is very fan connected, social media friendly. Does it ever become a challenge for you keeping that line drawn between connecting with the fans as a musician and that sometimes entitlement you get from some of them where they feel like you somehow owe them something?
That's such a good question. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that. It's actually, there's times when I do feel like it's a little much. I do love talking to people. I generally like to make friends and meet new people, and we all do, the whole band. But then there's times when you need a long time for a moment, and then you've got 5 people outside that you've known for a really long time, and you feel like you have to go out there and say hi, otherwise they'll be mad at you. You give a lot of yourself, these days, versus before where it's okay, you've got barriers and You can't see the band until after the show.
Right.
I give as much as I can to myself to people because I know how it feels on the other side of the spectrum. Like Vinnie Paul, for example, last night. He didn't have to take a picture with me. He didn't have to even stay to talk to me. But he was super nice about it, and I think that I respect people that I look up to when they're nice to their fans,
Absolutely. Mixi, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time to talk with us. Have a fantastic show tonight in San Diego and on the rest of the tour, and we're looking forward to the new album. I believe it's coming out hopefully this spring, and we're excited to hear what you guys got coming for us.
Awesome. Thank you. Inspire us.